We are ready, and who better to get us there? Look at that! Look at that smile. Give it to me. There he is. Players only, baby. DZ, 3D has been out there.
Players only, baby.
This series on both sides for us. So let me start with the big change for the Cavaliers, and we saw this obviously early in the game in Game 6, 3D, and that is the fact that we've got no Kevin Love. Give us a sense of how Ty Lue sees the difference offensively and defensively without Love on the floor.
Well, look at it, Love by 2, meaning Jeff Green and Larry Nance Jr. Jeff Green will start the ball game. Ty Lue did tell me that. And he also mentioned that he thought about starting Larry Nance Jr. because of his activity, his athletic ability, and being able to run the floor. And I've seen the pick and roll action. Every screen he sets, he will definitely roll to the basket versus Jeff Green sets a screen. They may switch. He may jump a step back for a three-point shot.
Yep.
So look for Jeff Green to start the ball game and then follow the flow of the game for Ty Lue with Nance.
Hey, Dennis, it's Mike Fratello. How important is Nance going to be without Kevin Love? And you mentioned, okay, starting Jeff Green. But last game, 21 minutes for the youngster. He had 4 offensive rebounds, shot 5 for 5 from the floor, gave them huge minutes back in Cleveland.
Yeah, Coach, and you love players like that when you can put a guy on the floor and not call a play for him, and he gets you offensive rebounds and easy putbacks. So those type of players, Ty Lue saying right now in Game 7, those are the best guys to have because you need activity, you need energy, and he's going to bring that tonight.
3D, Brendan Haywood here. George Hill last game, excellent, really looked a lot more aggressive. It's been a shop of horrors for him on the road, though. What does George Hill have to do to bring that Cleveland-type performance with him to Boston in this Game 7?
This is pretty, it's going to sound pretty easy, B. Wood, but talking to G. Hill this morning, he says, man, I need to get out of my own head. When we talk about home versus road, you can use that quote-unquote excuse with a young team. But you talk about G. Hill and Kyle Korver and J.R. Smith, these guys are veterans. These guys have been around a long time, so how can you use that against them? So George Hill said specifically, go out, play aggressive basketball, play my game, and get out of my own head.
DZ, I want to ask you because we talked about it earlier, and I know you've talked to him during this series. Al Horford has been, look, Big Al's been huge during this postseason. They're not here without him, but he had the roughest game by far for him in this run in Game number 6. How imperative is he, and what does he need to do for them to win here in Game 7?
Casey, you hit around the head. So much talk has been about Brown and Tatum and Scary Terry and Marcus Morris talking about shutting down LeBron. All that's great. But I'm talking to Al Horford the other day in Cleveland. Al wants to win this game so bad, but he's so mild-mannered. He goes with the flow. Let's remind people, LeBron James was in Al Horford's way when the Hawks won 60 wins a few years ago. So LeBron's always been in Al Horford's way. So there is a lot of pressure on Al Horford tonight, a lot of pressure on his shoulders as being the leader of this young ball club to get a huge win here in Game 7.
Hey, Dennis, listen to these numbers. 41-3, 41-22, 55-20. Those were all the differentials in the backcourts. Boston's guards versus the Cleveland guards. What can these Cavs guards do because they're getting killed by the backcourt of Boston?
Well, Coach, it's about their competitive spirit in the first, say, 5 or 6 minutes of the ball game. To your point, Terry Rozier and guys of that nature get off to a fast start at home versus on the road. So tonight, like we were saying earlier, and to B. Wood's question, George Hill has to go at Terry Rozier early in this ball game. The Cavs as a whole have to get off to a fast start. So, Coach, I'm coming back to you with this one. How do you play LeBron James tonight? Because you're going to probably have to play him 45 minutes. How does Ty Lue manage those timeouts to get him extra rest, knowing you need the best player on the floor as much as possible?
Go back to the last game, and I'll answer it this way. Ty Lue used up one of his timeouts that he didn't have to last game just to get LeBron James a rest, knowing that that was more important, having him able to finish the game out strong down the stretch than letting that timeout pass by. That's how important he thinks the rest is for LeBron.
See, DZ, you love the sideline, but you're asking coaches questions so much you just can't help yourself.
I can't help myself. When Nazar's in studio, and I know we watch the game so closely, and everyone, and in case it's your fault, because you already said it, if LeBron loses tonight, everyone's going to be asked, this is LeBron's last game in the Garden.
I'm the only
you
one
already
who's saying
started.
that? What? Come on.
DZ, well, you're the only one I've heard. You're the only one I heard in the last 5 minutes.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Shootersparadise3D.com. Get your merchandise. DZ, be good.
All right, guys.
Easy. Look at the supporting cast. Game number 6. The other guys. George Hill. To me, of the three, and I want to start with something that Coach just talked about with DZ, Brennan. Look, no points from that duo of he and J.R. Smith in the first half of Game 5. They were done by the time they could do anything. He had 20, was a huge factor. How important is George Hill in this game if they're going to win Game 7?
George Hill is very important, especially with Kevin Love out. He has the ball in his hands, probably the second most now besides LeBron James. He has to be aggressive. And that doesn't mean come down every time and try to make something happen. But when the ball is kicked to you, don't just hot potato it back to LeBron James. George Hill has been an excellent player in this league for a very long time. Have confidence in your ability and your skills. Get out of your own head like George Hill said he needs to. And get downhill. Cause a problem. Get in the lane. Just getting in the lane, whether sometimes, even if you miss the shot, that means Tristan Thompson is open for something on the glass. So I think George Hill has to be aggressive, and he's the guy that I'm looking for.
Go ahead, Coach.
One thing to mention also, he's been a 40% three-point shooter.
Yes.
When they move the ball and move the bodies, he gets those couple spot-ups a game where he can knock it down. When they hold the ball and pound it, he doesn't get those opportunities because then Boston locks in on him. You're taking a 40, 41% three-point shooter out of the game. You've got to move the ball, move bodies.
All right.